Hey, we're Mike and Betty Ann from Rollin Into Retirement, the channel where a couple of snowbirds take on RV tips, RV resorts, reviews, walkarounds, photography, food and wine, and more.
We're coming up on 2 years in our Georgetown 369 motorhome, so I thought I'd ask Mike to talk about some of his favorite things about the coach and some of the top things that are not quite on that favorite list.
So we're going to start with our lists of faves and then our list of non-faves, and stick with us until the end of the video because we're going to tell you whether we'd buy this coach again.
First up on the list of favorites is, on the outside, the full body paint.
Yeah, the full body paint was something that drew us to this coach the minute we looked at it. We knew when we shopped around, we knew we looked for like 3 years after owning our fifth wheel, and we knew that we wanted a motorhome, and then the question was the layout. Well, we kind of had the layout picked out, but we never really gave a lot of thought to what the outside of the motorhome would look like. We ended up seeing this one actually on the lot, and the paint just stood right out at us. And again, this is paint, it's not decals. So much so that the paint matched our Jeep.
Our Jeep. Another thing we really liked about this was the 7,000 watt generator.
Okay, that's correct too. So now, when we looked around at most of these Georgetowns, we noticed that there were 5,000 watt generators in it. The 5,000 watt generator, for the amount of times that we use it, probably would have been okay, but it did come with a 7,000 watt as an upgrade. So now we really don't have to worry when we're driving down the road. If it gets a little hot, we can turn on the generator and run the air conditioning. It will allow us to run some things as well if we need it. Generally doesn't happen, so it's a nice little extra treat to have that 7,000 watt generator. Also, little note is that I'm going to put a link to in the description below. I have a little video on changing the oil for that generator, so we'll put that in the description below. Before we go on, I just want to remind you, if you like this video, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button below and subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell on the side so you'll get notified when there's new videos.
Speaking of going down the road, the next thing we like is the driver and passenger seats.
Okay, the driver and passenger seats you're going to see in this video are going to be on our fave list and our non-fave list. First, let me tell you though, I love these seats. When we drive down the highway, it's just the comfort of these seats just really, I just never get tired. I don't get sluggish. It's a good support on my back, and it's just a winner. So the seats, and that's important when we're driving a motorhome. We want to make sure that you're comfortable when you're driving. So the seats are a winner. Okay, so the next area is the kitchen area, and I'll leave that to you.
That's always on the fave list. And this particular coach has a very nice layout for the kitchen. We have a double sink, which is nice to have. We also have a 3-burner cooktop and a microwave convection oven, which lately we've been figuring out how to use that convection oven.
Yeah, the convection oven, we're using that more than anything, so much so that the stove, which we fell in love with because some of them didn't have stoves, we saw the stove here, but maybe we could have used that extra space because we tend to be cooking in the oven.
Yeah, we don't use the oven that often, so living in this particular coach, it would have been nice to have more drawer space or another cabinet in that particular area, but you know, it's a nice feature to have.
Yeah, and what about the refrigerator?
Oh, the refrigerator. The refrigerator is bigger than the one we have at home. And of course, right now we're living in this quarantine situation. Yeah. So having the larger refrigerator and the larger freezer has been a real help to be able to only go out occasionally, stock up on meats and vegetables and all kinds of stuff. And this refrigerator has it all.
And then, I guess, which was one of the biggest, should really be number one on our list, was the bath and a half.
Yes. It's very nice to have that extra bathroom. So we have a full bathroom in the back, and then in the living room area there's a nice small bathroom, perfect for 2 people.
Right, and the bath and a half in this particular coach, which they'll nickname a couples coach, getting the bath and a half would take away from other coaches maybe putting in bunks for the grandkids. Since we don't have that, having that extra bath, especially when we're driving down the road, to be able to get to it easy, it really works out well.
It does. And then, of course, the TV area in the living room.
TV area was also another thing that we looked at when we drove and looked at all these motorhomes at shows, etc. It was surprising to see some with couches where we would sit on couches and then the TV was over to the right of us, or just or sitting over a dinette, which we didn't like. This one, the layout of the TV is angled perfectly, great for viewing, as is the TV in the bedroom.
Speaking of the bedroom, we do have a nice large king-size bed, which again is bigger than what we have at home.
Right. Yeah, the king bed, they're called RV kings, and a standard king bed is 76 wide by 80 long. This is an RV king, and it's 72. Still more than enough. The queen would be 60 wide. So, and it is a full 80-inch. Some RV mattresses, you have to be very careful when you buy, come in only 74 inches long. You know, even for me, I'm only about 5'9", 5'10", and depending on how I'm laying on it, I could almost, my feet hang over on those. Mm-hmm. This is that full.
And don't forget, we did replace the original mattress.
We did replace the original mattress. I'm going to look that mattress up, and I'm going to put the link to that mattress in the description below. Very comfortable mattress.
Very comfortable. Okay, so that brings us to the not-so-favorite list.
And first on the list is?
The driver-passenger seats.
The driver-passenger seats, as I said before. So one of the problems with this is the beauty of having them to be able to turn, which turned out to be a problem for us. The passenger seat turns relatively easy, and actually now we actually have it turned out towards the inside of the motorhome. The driver's seat, it's almost impossible. Almost, I'll say, because you can do it. Try to spin it, you have to adjust the arm, you have to, put the seat back, it's move the steering wheel. It's such a crazy Megillah to do this. And then what happened after I finally got it done and it worked, the power stopped. I looked underneath, spinning the chair around, twisted the wires and snapped the wire, luckily just unpulling the socket, and I was able to stick it back in. So I'm very careful with that. The same thing actually happened in the passenger seat. The power leg lift that comes with these also snapped from turning it. So at that point then I turned the wire and rewired around the pole because I'm turning that all the time. So there you go, a design flaw.
Mm-hmm. And part of my job when we get to our next place where we're going to stay, of course, is opening and closing the slides. In this particular coach, when you open the slides, you just never know what's going to pop off next.
Yeah, the moldings and the trims on this, the cabinetry in the coach is beautiful. Mm-hmm. We love it. The cabinets open and close, they're sturdy in that vein, but the trim leaves so much to be desired. We've lost trim on this. As Betty Ann said, we opened up the coach and the trim along the bottom of the slide fell off, the wood trim. In the bedroom, the trim fell off, along by the television, just from bouncing. After I looked at it, and of course I fixed it ourselves. We're not going to call people in just to do that, which we probably should have. But I noticed this, they would use glue and staples as you normally would, but the staples were too short, and it didn't look like there was much glue. So, you know, the speed and the time it takes, you know, of course, remember, you get what you pay for on these things, but still, it was sad.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the electrical outlets.
All right, so the electrical outlets, not that big of a deal, but it just seems weird to me that you have an inverter that runs the refrigerator, but it won't run any of the outlets. Many coaches, when you're driving, the outlets will work and you have them, and if you need for it to plug in an iPad or whatever it may be. These didn't work. Can we live with it? Of course. But I got an idea from watching another YouTube channel, and I purchased, and I'll put this in the link below as well, I purchased a little small inverter box about this size, and again I'll put the picture there, and it has one outlet, one 12-volt DC hookup, so it allows us to use that, and if Betty Ann needs to plug in a laptop or whatever on our trip, she can do it.
Now, the next thing wasn't number one on your list, but it is number one on mine, and that is the couch.
The couch. So, finally with the couch, that was one of the main things that sold us on this coach. Yeah, so when we looked at the couch, we went in and we saw a U-shaped couch that would open and close, and perfect viewing for the television. The only problem is the couch is very uncomfortable. We generally don't even use the U of the couch anymore because keeping it closed gives us more room to walk in the coach. But popping up the seats on this, they're just not comfortable. Theater seating would have been much better, which from 2019 they switched and no longer have that U, and now they have theater seating. But
on
again,
on our wish list.
It's on our wish list. It's not something we can't change out. We've already looked into it, and it's something we'll do on the road. But it's interesting that would be one of the most important things, and turns out to end up being probably the least favorite thing we like in the coach.
And then the way the TVs are mounted wasn't the easiest thing for you.
I don't know what brain trust thought this out, but you can understand why they want to mount the televisions firmly so you're driving down the road it doesn't fall off. But they're not on adjustable mounts, and they probably could be because you could use a strap to hold it down. But if you're going to do that, you should use a television that has accessible HDMI ports and hookups. All of the ports to these TV are in the back. You can't reach back there to get anything. It was crazy. So we literally had to take the TV off, which turned out not to be that hard to do.
Thank goodness it was light.
Yeah, the TV is light. But we pulled it off, and then there were 3 HDMI ports. I took 3 cables in and draped them down so we would have them hooked up. And also our sound bar, we were able to hook the optical connection to the sound bar and then mount it back. But just a little weird. And then the TV in the bedroom, that also is that way. I disconnected, took that TV out, and then there we actually put in a swivel mount, which allowed us to swivel it out and then use storage in the back, which is nice to have a little extra storage.
Kind of like a little closet. For the wine closet.
Exactly, for the wine club. We keep that in the back. So that is the TV, and I strap that down when we travel, and that works fine.
Yep. And the air conditioning, which you don't hear at the moment.
Right. We actually have the air conditioning off while we're filming this because it's too noisy. And I'm sure that's the case with most RV air conditioners in most rigs. I think in the little bit more upscale rigs, you're going to find that perhaps with it ducted, maybe it's quieter, maybe it's not. But in here, it's a little annoying, and for a couple of RV snowbirds that did not choose this to be full-time life, but just as snowbirds, it's annoying. It's not the same as living at home, having that AC blasting you. And now, of course, we're all dealing with the quarantine and the COVID-19 crisis, and Betty Ann and I both hope that you're all managing and staying your social distance apart. That is annoying, and we love it when the weather just gets a little bit cooler and we can turn it off.
Yes. And then there are the dinette seat benches.
Okay, where we're sitting now in the dinette benches, the table is beautiful. It just a really nice piece of wood, but it's on their bench dinette system. You could have ordered this coach, and the 378s, I believe, do come with the table and chair dinette. We would have preferred the table and chair dinette. These seats are terrible. We're actually sitting now on cushions to keep us propped up. If you sat on these cushions, you sinked in, almost hit your chin on the table. Plus, it just seems a little weird that there's no storage down there. There is a way for us to take the pieces off and make some storage out of it, and we might still do that because we don't really use this for sleeping as well.
No.
So.
And the last thing was the bathroom sinks and faucets. You never know what's going to happen when you turn on the faucet. If you forget and you put the faucet on too quickly, you're going to get soaked. And I think it's just the design of that.
Yeah, the bowls of the sink are really pretty.
Very pretty.
The hardware is pretty. It's very weird. You just turn it on, and the way it hits the bowl, it splashes you.
So it's very important when guests come to give them a tutorial first on how to use the bathroom faucet.
I mean, does it belong on a list of non-faves? Yeah, because it's an annoying kind of thing. So there you go.
So now the question is, would we buy again?
Okay, so the answer to whether we'd buy it again is yes. Yes, because the price was right. On the whole, in the middle of the faves and the not faves, there are so many great things about the coach that we love, from the giant 22.5-inch tires outside. We have quite a bit of storage in this coach. It's on the Ford F53 chassis. It drives really, really well. As I said, it's a comfortable ride when we go. And again, the layout, why we bought it, really did sell us. So other than those things that we talked to you about, the non-faves and the faves, I think we're both in agreement.
Yes, we would buy it again.
We'd buy it again.
Absolutely. So if you'd like to see the coach, we do have a video on our channel that gives a tour of the inside by me and a tour of the outside by Mike.
And I'll be sure to put a link to that video in the description down below. So that's it. That's the video, and thanks again for watching. If you like it, please smash that thumbs up button down below. Don't forget to subscribe. We watch that subscriber count and hope it goes up every day. And also hit that little subscriber bell that will let you know when we put up new videos. And we'll see you out there. Don't forget to honk when you pass us.
Bye-bye.